In December of 2022, the Granite School District announced that 3 elementary schools on the east side of Salt Lake County will be closed due to low student population. This is far from the first time the Granite School District has closed a school on the east side of the Salt Lake County. In fact, schools being closed on the east side of Salt Lake County can even be traced back to the 1970s. In 1971, Blaine Elementary School, located at 2465 South State Street, was closed, and Madison Elementary, located at 41 East 3300 South, was closed. In 1984, Fortuna Elementary School, located in the Olympus Cove area, was closed. It was located at 4610 South Fortuna Way in Mill Creek. The school had been around since the 1950s, but it didn't make sense to keep the school around with the dwindling student population. In 1988, East Mill Creek Elementary School, located at 2965 East Evergreen Avenue, Salt Lake City, Utah, would be closed. It was closed due to concerns of students crossing 3300 South. It was a very busy street with a lot of cars coming on the road each and every day. The school was not closed due to dwindling student population, but due to safety concerns. However, the school did have 272 students when it closed. Over time, the student population at schools on the east side continued to dwindle. In 2002, Holiday Elementary and Libby Edward Elementary were closed. Libby Elementary was on the busy 3300 South Street, which proved to be a safety concern. It had been around since 1946. Holiday Elementary had been one of the oldest schools in the Granite School District, having been around since 1926. But then the Granite School District decided to do a population analysis study. In 2005, it was revealed that there was overcrowding at schools and undercrowding at other schools, and this would lead to closing some schools. In 2006, Hillview Elementary, located at 4505 South, 1025 East in Mill Creek, was closed. Spring Lane Elementary, located at 5315 South Woodcrest Drive in Holiday, was originally going to be closed, and students of Spring Lane were going to go over to Hillview Elementary. However, Spring Lane Elementary was the safer of the two schools, and parents were concerned of having their kids go to a less safer school. Eventually, they decided to keep Spring Lane Elementary open and close Hillview Elementary instead. The next year, in 2007, another elementary school was closed. Canyon Rim Elementary School, located at 3005 South 2900 East in Mill Creek, was closed. This school was another victim of the same decision from Granite School District to close Hillview Elementary. Eventually, students in this area would go to Morningside Elementary. But look at a map. Here's where the Canyon Rim Elementary School used to be, and here's Morningside. There's an elementary school here, here, and here. Odd school boundaries, sure, but I'm sure they had a reason for the odd school boundaries. Anyways, I digress. But undoubtedly, the biggest closure was closing Granite High School in 2009. After the 2005 to 2006 school year, Granite High School got rid of its athletics programs from the school, and it became a non-traditional high school. This provided what could have been the final nail in the coffin for Granite High. The student population would drop below 300 students, and the school would be closed in 2009. Although efforts for the school to be preserved happened, it would ultimately fail, and the school would be demolished. Also, the school had asbestos, but that is besides the point. This school served a community of people for over 100 years. Now that is no longer the case. The school had been opened since 1906. Granite School District would not close any more schools on the east side of the county for more than a decade, until they closed Roosevelt Elementary. The school was closed in 2020 as a new school called Olene Walker Elementary was being built, which was to replace Roosevelt. Roosevelt Elementary had been around since 1906 and was rebuilt in 1973. A few years later, in 2022, the Granite School District did another population analyst study. They ultimately came to the forbidden decision to close not just one, not just two, but 3 elementary schools: Twin Peaks, Mill Creek, and Spring Lane. These schools had lower student populations than other schools in the area, so the Granite School District decided to close these schools. Granite School District spokesperson Ben Horsey said, "The student population is diminishing. The district losing around 8,000 students in the last decade and 1,200 in the past year alone." Mill Creek Elementary PTA President April Flores said, quote, "It was a huge gut punch in September when we were told we were on the list of possibilities to close by the end of the school year." Granite Education Association President said, open quote, "We laud the effort the decision took to educate and collect stakeholder feedback." She went on to say, "This hard decision is the right decision." Mill Creek was opened in 1955, Twin Peaks in 1965, and Spring Lane in 1963. Fun fact, back in the mid-2000s, Spring Lane was going to be closed, like I mentioned before, but was ultimately left open. But it was renamed from its original name of Meadowmore Elementary to Spring Lane Elementary. Students at Mill Creek Elementary will go to Lincoln Elementary, Rosecrest Elementary, Wilson Elementary, and Penn Elementary. Students at Spring Lane Elementary will go to Crestview Elementary, Moss Elementary, and Oakwood Elementary. Students at Twin Peaks Elementary will go to Moss Elementary and Woodstock Elementary School. The Granite School District plans to still own the property for these schools just in case they need to use these schools in the future. The main underlying problem with all these schools closing is that the student population on the east side of the Salt Lake County is dwindling. It used to be booming enough for there to be 28 elementary schools on the east side of the Granite School District in 1970. Now, starting next school year, there will only be 16 elementary schools on the east side of Granite School District. It's simple. If a school has a low student population, then it's likely that it will get closed at some point. But we can't deny the fact that these schools meant something to so many people, and that their purpose has been fulfilled. Now these places live on in some other way or form. So what is happening to these places and areas that used to have an elementary school? The site of Blaine Elementary is now a Ramada Hotel and Famous Dave's Quickie Q. Fun fact, the Famous Dave's Quickie Q used to be a KFC A&W location. The site of Madison Elementary is now an automotive repair shop called Lux Automotive. It is also next to a McDonald's. After Fortuna Elementary closed, it became the house for Intermountain Christian School, a K-12 private Christian school. Eventually, the property was sold in 1990 and then demolished. A park and houses were built in the area. As for Intermountain Christian School, it would relocate at some point to the Cottonwood Business Center. After East Mill Creek closed, it was leased to a private school and would eventually become the home for the Reed School, a private school that serves K-12. Holiday Elementary would become the school for William Penn Elementary when William Penn Elementary was being rebuilt. It would then become the city hall for the city of Holiday. Libby Edward Elementary would become the Utah School for the Deaf and Blind, and the Jean Massue School for the Deaf, a school that helps kids that are blind and deaf. Hillview Elementary would be raised and become the Mill Creek Activity Center. Interestingly enough, the property is still owned by the Granite School District. Canyon Rim Elementary would become a public charter school called Canyon Rim Academy. This school accepts students through a lottery system and accepts students within the middle of the year if space opens up. After Grant High School closed, it would eventually be the site of many houses and a new library for the Salt Lake County library system called, Grant Library. One of the roads is even called Farmer Alumni Road, which is a clear nod to the mascot of Grant High School, which was a farmer. After Roosevelt Elementary closed, it it would become the Roosevelt Continuation School. And like I said, after Spring Lane, Twin Peaks, and Mill Creek Elementary close, the Granite School District plans to keep the property for these schools just in case they need to use them, which I think they will need to use the property in the future. So what do all these schools being closed tell us? It tells us that there is a problem with lower student population at schools, and in the Granite School District entirely. For these schools to be kept open, there need to be a lot of students at these schools. Only time will tell what happens. I'm Calvin Fuller, and thanks for watching OlyTV.